Now you're listening to Fantastic Formosa with John Abrams in Taipei. Hey, welcome back to the Fantastic Formosa show. I'm John Abrams, and, I love talking about Taiwan. It's just a wonderful, fantastic place. And today we have a guest. His name's Jay. He's an American. And Jay's going to talk about the hospital care a little bit at first because he just had a motorcycle accident. And wow, Jay, first of all, I want to welcome you back to Fantastic Formosa. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me, John.
Yeah, good. I enjoy your conversations. I think the listener will too. One of the things that intrigued me about you is you always seem to be in the hospital.
I've had a little bit of a run of bad luck, I would say. I go on a lot of adventures. I take the scooter to music festivals, and I go to the beaches and hot springs.
This sounds like alcohol.
No. I just enjoy
music festivals, the beach.
I enjoy driving. I enjoy
beer, no Taiwan Pijo.
I'm not a big beer guy, honestly.
Okay.
Not a drinker. All right. No, I mostly. You're making a joke, but
I just hear the word music concert, and I think, I know now.
There might be some people taking some things, but that's not me.
Okay, good.
I think at every music festival in the world,
sure,
there's some people
except
taking something.
Except for maybe Mozart.
I don't
think people drink during Mozart.
I sometimes I'll drive like 4 or 6 hours to.
No kidding.
So I went to the Taichung Jazz Music Festival. I drove with my friend. We went there and back the same day.
Taichung is a long way on a motorcycle.
So yeah, I'm a big motorcycle rider. I only have 150 cc's, but honestly, that you're gonna already hit the speed limit before you're gonna hit the limit of the bike.
150 cc's. Well, I remember when that was like the limit. When I first got here in the 1990s, I think it was. Gosh, what was it? 200 was the maximum you could have.
You have to get a special license over 180, I think.
This is back in the day. Everybody had to have. Yeah, I think you're right. 180 was it, and everybody wanted to get Harleys or what we call what are those really fast bikes?
Crotch rockets.
Yes, the Japanese style that go like 200 miles an hour.
Yamaha, Suzuki's.
You're dead within a second, half a second if you hit something.
Well, so one thing in Taiwan that's really interesting, if you go to the mountains at night, so I'll go to Wulai or I'll go to Yangmingshan for the wild hot springs or the beaches with my friend. I have an adventure buddy that we both scooter. And it's really nice because there's no drivers pretty much except for, and I don't know if it's the official name, but the mountain monkeys, which are these kind of scooter or motorcycle clubs.
Oh, I didn't know they existed.
Oh yeah, they're actually really chill. They're really friendly. They don't speak very much English. They all dress kind of in like motorcycle clothes. They go really fast.
Are these scooters or motorcycles?
It's a mix, but they spend a lot of money on their bikes. They really enjoy riding.
Right. Okay.
And their girls are really pretty, so they must be doing something right.
Yeah, okay. They just want to have a little fun in the mountains or something. What mountains do they normally drive around in?
You see a lot of them on Yangmingshan, but you'll see them basically all over Taiwan, wherever there aren't speed cameras.
Oh, wherever there are not speed cameras.
I don't know why. That just happens to be some sort of relationship. But in terms of riding,
they can't go fast enough to get a speeding ticket.
I've ridden quite a bit, and recently I was riding. I do product manufacturing in Taiwan, and I was getting ready for a photo shoot. I had a model on the back of my scooter, and we had product, and we were going to Wulai Hot Springs.
Now, explain this model issue.
So sometimes you have to get a pretty guy or a girl, and you have to take like photos or video
with your product.
With your product. So you have to take
to sell in your catalog.
To sell online, to sell to Amazon, to sell to other businesses.
Sure. Okay. Are these Taiwanese or are they foreigners, or who are they?
So I hire models. Honestly, female models are always really difficult. Guys are really chill, actually. Most of the male models are really nice.
Why are female models difficult?
They're a little bit lazy, and they also kind of always expect a lot. I think they're beautiful, and a lot of people like just treat them really well, and so they don't.
I see.
They're kind of don't really want to work very hard.
We call it entitled.
Yes.
Yes,
this might
entitled.
Be a word.
Okay.
So I had this pretty girl on the back of my scooter, and I'm going to the hot springs because I make a flotation product called Sway, which is like a easy way to float and relax in the water. And so finally I got out of Taipei traffic because the traffic was horrendous that day.
It's a weekend or
no, it was a work day because it's work. It's for me, it's work. I'm going to because I needed to do. I just come out of I just received my first production run of product, and so I needed to get my promotional materials together. So I got this model on my scooter with some samples of the product. I'm going to Wulai. We get out of traffic. We get a little bit kind of on the back roads.
Right.
We're going in a straight line, and this grandpa, in front of us just slams on the brakes, no reason, and then decides after he slams on the brake to turn on his turn signal. And I don't want to hit him, so I crash my bike and I shatter my shoulder into 10 pieces.
Now, what did she do? Did she get hurt?
Nope, no one but me got hurt. I was a very, I hurt myself, but I was a good...
Did she still get paid for her time?
Everything got resolved somewhat amicably.
All right.
I think she found the experience a little bit traumatic, but she was okay.
Did she end up on the ground?
I think she was just pretty upset that we crashed.
All right.
Which, to be fair, I was also pretty upset we crashed.
You were in a lot of pain.
I thought it was dislocated, and I was going to try to pop it back in place.
Good move.
Well, apparently, I have a very high tolerance for pain. So I got taken to this giant Buddhist hospital. I think it's 17 floors.
17.
Isn't
the number of heavens in Buddhist literature?
Something like that. Tsuji Hospital.
Oh yeah,
down in Xindian, kind of.
She's very genuine. It's serious if you go there. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, she's a serious.
It's a very nice hospital. I think that the surgeon that did the surgery did a really excellent job. I think there's a lot of differences in Western and Eastern style medicine. So they didn't give me morphine until the surgery, which I thought was kind of crazy. Like if my shoulder is shattered, I think so. They're very hesitant or
get you hooked.
Well, no, they're just not interested in giving you painkillers, even if you're in pain sometimes. So like the quality of the care, like the surgery and the changing of the wounds, and the hospital itself was excellent. But there were a lot of communication challenges, like talking to them about like how to change the wounds in a way that wasn't like the wound bandages in a way that wasn't painful was really difficult to communicate. Really understanding, like I did not understand until like 3 or 4 days in when they showed me the CT scan because I had seen the X-ray and it looked like just a simple small line break.
Right.
And you've seen the CT scan, like my arm was in 10 pieces, and I was like, oh. Wow, I was really, really hurt. I'm so grateful to the surgeon that they fixed things. I think I've had surgery in America and I've had surgery in Taiwan, and I think that they're both the surgeons are very good in both places. It's much, much cheaper here, but I think communication challenges as well as kind of a little bit different set of expectations about patient care.
Interesting. Well, I don't understand the painkiller. I think they should have given you at least ibuprofen or something.
I don't know. I don't want to be too graphic for the listeners, but I was basically, they made me wait. It was almost 24 hours because I came in at like a weird time. I came in like the late afternoon, and then they waited until the like 12 or 24 hours later. So I was just laying there on a cot and with my arm shattered.
In a cot?
Well, like a hospital bed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
I don't know what you call those things.
You didn't try to get up or anything?
I couldn't. Moving really hurt.
Moving was a bad idea.
Now it's not so bad. It's like my arm is like 40 or 60% dead, and I'll just slowly regain range of motion. And I have a titanium plate with 12 pins.
Oh Lord, you're going to the moon. Titanium is very expensive.
I'm a little bit of an android. I'm like a little space robot.
Well, you won't. I don't think titanium sets off the alarms.
Nope. It's super lightweight. It's not magnetic. It doesn't corrode or rust or oxidize. It doesn't have a reaction.
What about the pins? Do they?
They're made of titanium too. They're crazy expensive. In America, I don't know about in Taiwan, but in America, each pin is over 400 USD.
So, oh Lord.
So 12 pins is like, wow, it's some primo.
Primo, yeah. What's primo mean?
Primo is sort of like it's like a.
Is it English?
It's slang for like kind of like premium.
Premium, yes.
It's like a bastardized. Bastardized is a difficult word too.
No, it's actually a word that means a change in something that results in it being less recognizable. You could do that to a car.
Well,
you change the parts out, and you think, "What is that? What kind of car is that?" I don't know.
I think if you were to go to like England's like primo or premium, they might say posh.
Posh. To me, the word posh means you're rich and elitist.
Bougie.
You wear.
Bougie is short for bourgeois. Well, it's really. I think a lot of the words around premium and luxury kind of have slang terms.
Posh to me is very New York, a phrase for rich people. I don't know.
No. It's a normal. In England. That's a normal word for like just kind of a certain set of people and behaviors.
All right.
I think
they're self-important. They think that they.
I think it's
is that right?
It's like wealth culture.
Yes, it's wealth culture. And you can act that way and dress that way, and nobody will ever know that you are not posh, that you don't have any money.
But I think that the hospital overall had a ridiculous amount of money.
Okay.
So I was 17 floors. I got really bored because once I could move around and my arm was in a sling, I didn't want to lay in bed all day. So I visited like most of the floors.
All right.
It had
each floor is like a different subject or a different.
Some of them had specialties. Some of them it didn't seem like there was anything particularly interesting. They had a medical library, which had a lot of cool books on surgery in English and Chinese.
They should keep you out of there because you find out they did it wrong.
I did actually look up the surgery. That's true. How'd you know that?
I'm just guessing. I would do that. I was like, did they do this right?
You can't get roof access, but they were doing construction on the 17th floor, and so no one was up there.
That's what they tell everybody.
So the views are really nice. There were some meditation ponds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty. I have photos if you want to see.
You could just sit there and meditate, or just be quiet and read a book.
You could walk around. It was pretty muggy and hot and rained.
But, yeah.
But they had like turtles and fish.
This is out in the open.
They had 3 or 4 out meditation ponds around the hospital on different floors.
Around the hospital.
I think I was on 13 or 14, and they had one on. Up there, they had one on like 8.
But that's not exposed to the outside.
No. You can go out. It's a giant balcony.
Oh, huge balcony outside, right?
Like 50 ping, 100 ping. It was pretty big. I don't know.
They got like frogs and stuff.
Not when I was there, but it wouldn't surprise. I mean, it's high enough up. It's high enough up. You could get a little bit of fog.
14 floors is high.
Yeah, 14 floors. Skyscrapers. The original skyscraper was Chicago, where I'm from. And I think it was like 10 or 12 stories. It wasn't. Yeah, that was a skyscraper.
Yeah.
Now that's not even a tall building.
Yeah, now they're like 50.
50 is not even that big. They're 100. They're 150.
Yeah, I was in the one in Malaysia, KL, the double one that looks like glass. I don't know what they call it. It has actually on like halfway up. It has a bridge between the two buildings. It's in Malaysia. I can't remember the name of it, but it's beautiful.
I'm sure.
But to have a bridge between the two buildings at that height is amazing.
I always get the sense that the tall buildings a lot of the time are kind of vanity projects. My mom's an architect, and I really appreciate architecture, but Like in Chicago, we have the Sears Tower, which is, I think it's now called the Willis Tower.
God, it's been around a long time, hasn't it?
It was originally the corporate headquarters for Sears.
Right.
I think it was finished in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
But that building never really made a ton of economic sense. And I think a lot of the really tall buildings...
There was nobody in it, basically?
It's not that there's nobody in it. It's that they're really hard to maintain, and you have to have all kinds of special systems to pump water
to the roof
and fire protection, and they're sometimes they have structural issues.
It's on the lake.
In Taiwan, they have 101.
Michigan.
101 to me, it seems very much like
the 101 building used to be the tallest building in the world. Yeah.
So that's a kind of a claim that gets made a lot. A lot of times they use the antenna on top and the actual.
They throw an antenna.
So, like, a lot of times the better metric is what's the highest occupied floor. That's the real height of the
fair.
The real height of the building.
Fair.
Well, up until very recently, it was still Chicago because the Sears Tower had the highest occupied floor up until, I think it was like the mid 2000s.
The economy destroyed Chicago, and it destroyed Sears, didn't it?
I don't think it so much Sears got destroyed as so much they just didn't update and innovate. So, like, the internet came and sort of distribution changed.
Right.
Walmart adapted to have some sort of internet presence, and I think Sears didn't. And I think also Sears just didn't. Sears was kind of like a mid-level brand, and either you go luxury or you go basic. Right. It's kind of hard to live in the middle.
Well, Sears is. I worked at J.C. Penney's when I was in college.
I don't think our listeners probably know these brands at all.
These are department stores, and they're competitive. And J.C. Penney's, I worked in the camera department because I was wanting to be a photographer someday in journalism. And so I was really good at that, but I really wanted to get into Sears because Sears was like inside a shopping mall, and I wanted to get into Sears because they sold all kinds of tools. Yeah,
they had lifetime warranties on their tools.
Yeah, and I knew every tool in the world since I grew up in a farming community, and I thought, well, I could actually, I could get cheap tools because they gave you like a 20% discount. And
20%?
Oh, it was huge. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, on Christmas.
That's not
actually. It was like on Christmas only, and all my relatives would have probably kicked in my door and told me to go buy.
That's not that great a discount.
Yeah. Well, the equipment though is just they had
back in the day.
What was the name of the company that drills and drill bits?
Black & Decker, probably.
Black & Decker. Oh my God, they were just
in their time that they were good quality.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff is made in Asia though. Now they're sort of brands without any real manufacturing.
Well, yeah, I mean. Yeah,
the quality went down enormously. I watch a guy who does teardowns of old tools and also modern tools.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video on this guy. Yeah, I know it.
I think he's AVE or something.
Yeah.
He curses a lot, but he's very smart. Very smart. I think he's a mining engineer.
If you're a farm boy, you're really into tools. I mean, you're really freaked out about, like that's not the right size. Even though it works. But anyway, getting back to you, this accident. So you did not get to do your product brochure, photograph, model.
Thing? So I went to the nice hospital that was kind of fancy. They did a really good job surgery. I get out of the hospital. I'm very lucky that the local community, like some of my Taiwanese friends, helped me. And some of the people in my local religious community helped me, and just my friends in general were really good to me. But I get out and I don't have a working arm, and everything is hard. I think that when you don't have a working arm, doing really basic stuff like getting dressed,
opening a Coca-Cola bottle, water.
even stuff.
Use your teeth. Go on.
I mean, you can. So actually, I just did 2 or 3 video and photo shoots with some models, but the models were
not what you wanted. Okay.
No, the footage we got at the end I think is sufficient, but it's really, really challenging. I love creative people, but they're really hard to work with. So I had a cinematographer. He did not show up. He flaked out.
What's the word flake out mean?
they did not live up to the responsibility that they were
Yes.
supposed to.
So he flaked out. Yeah. You can also call a certain person a flake,
Yes.
meaning that they're not responsible,
Yeah.
and you have to fix all their problems for them. It was a common phrase in America, flake, or he flaked out.
It's just not someone who's reliable.
Right.
Flaky.
He didn't show up for the shoot.
So
Okay.
so then I have a friend who's a model, but she doesn't really. So she showed up 3 hours late for the shoot.
What?
Yes.
What? Was it in the mountains or hard to get
No.
to?
It was right near Ximen. It was like at the sports center. She just didn't want. She didn't want to get out of bed. She partied too late into the night.
She's a professional model.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
Okay. Well, fire her, I guess.
But I have a broken arm. It's difficult to like get these models to show up.
God.
I mean, I relaxed at the pool. It was not the worst thing in the world to spend a couple hours at a pool waiting for a model.
All right. Yeah. How much were you paying her just to be?
Oh no,
curious?
this was sort of I paid costs, so I was lucky. So it was taxis and like a bathing suit and some other stuff.
She wanted the experience, or she?
Well, so I do a lot of engineering stuff, and I've been helping her with an engineering project. So I guess we were sort
I
of.
would say that would be over now.
Yes, that's also true. But that's basically I've been I think I don't know if she appreciated it or not, but I was helping her with some engineering projects, and then she kind of did some favors for me. But I think we stressed each other out because I expected somebody to show up on time and do all the poses that I needed for all the B-roll. And
Okay.
we got some good shots, and now I'm actually hiring internationally a bunch of video editors, and I'm having them kind of have a competition to see who can make the best video.
But I want to wind the clock back a little bit. Who took the pictures at the pool?
Me, but I do this with like my arm is in a sling, like it's my left arm, which is not my dominant arm. So my arm is in a sling. I'm in a bathing suit. I've got like a little like self-stabilized camera. I've got a fixed camera on a tripod, and then I've got another camera. So I've got 3 cameras going. I'm trying to get different angles.
My God.
And this model is not cooperating, and so I'm having to coach her on like body position because she's changed. You know, it's a relaxation product, and she doesn't look relaxed. She's not holding the positions long enough, and she doesn't really like the water. So it's just like torture to get this footage. It's really bad.
All right.
But-
yeah, I would end my relationship, any kind of relationship.
I don't think we're gonna do. She's not gonna. So she actually did 2 photo shoots for me. We also did one in the mountains, but yeah, it was really really
You
stressful.
said she was a professional. She'd done this for other people, or?
I don't think she's a professional bathing suit kind of. I wouldn't give her bathing suit work again.
All right. What kind of fashion work did she do before?
High fashion. Like she's.
Oh, then that explains the sense of entitlement.
Yeah. So there's in modeling there's kind of tiers, and like the most fancy tier of modeling is high fashion, where you go to like Fashion Week in New York and Fashion Week in. I think there's Fashion Week in France and there's Fashion Week in Italy. And she was jet setting for a while. I don't know. I don't mean
if
to.
She's jet setting. What does that mean to the listener?
She's being flown around to be a beautiful person in beautiful clothes.
Jet setting. Okay, so that's a phrase that came out of the 1970s, I think.
Yes.
If you're a jet setter, you were rich and you flew around the world. You would go to Paris. You would go to these famous capitals to do
Whatever.
important. Well, let's say
Not even important.
posh things.
You
modeling.
would have delicious meals and whatnot. So
You'd be well taken care of. Yeah.
So she she's still my friend, and I think she's a nice person, but trying to work with her was really stressful. And I'm sure, honestly, I was probably, from her perspective, really difficult as well. So maybe I'm not being fair.
Maybe you should have waited on the pictures, but you had to have them, right?
Well, yeah. So if you're running a business and you need to do promotional stuff, so like if you're doing like a new product, you need like a 30 to 60 second video generally, and some very nice photos, like 3 to 5 really good photos. And the first 3 to 5 seconds of that video need to really like, oh, this is really exciting, or I'm really interested. And then the
Right.
video has to kind of explain what the product is. And by the end of the video, you want to create a desire or curiosity. Like, oh, I want this thing. Oh, I want to learn more about this thing.
Right.
And the pictures also need to like make the product look really compelling. And it's a lot of work to make something look really simple and easy, because the lighting is really difficult, and you have to color match, and the framing of the shots has to be kind of done in an aesthetically pleasing way, and you have to think about kind of, is this going to be viewed on a phone or a computer? How much attention is somebody going to give to this? Because you don't get it's really hard to get people's attention when you're doing product launches.
Yeah, it really is. There's so much distraction on the internet and other things in life to get a new product out there.
But
are there any local shows, trade shows, for example, here at the Taiwan World Trade Center that you could display your...
So I went to the sports show, and I talked with some of the people.
When was this?
A couple months ago. I go to the sports show every year. I do like health and fitness stuff. Right now I'm doing the sway floats, but I've also done some exercise equipment. And it's really interesting. I think that there are some really good quality manufacturers. I think it's challenging doing international business. I think you have to really know what you want and understand the quality that you're going to get, and have buyers, or know how to like find buyers if you're going to do new designs, especially, which is what I do. But if you can make it work, if you can make something new that people really want, it can be very profitable, and it can be very fulfilling to see somebody like use your product and have a really good experience, or it helps them in some way.
Right.
I've been really I've done user testing. This product took about a year to develop, and I've gone to like local pools and with both Taiwanese people and international people, tested it, and people find it so relaxing. I think it's one of the best things I've ever designed, honestly. Selling is going to be a huge pain in the butt, because it's kind of different than other products, but...
Well, you're going to have an inventory, right?
I have a couple hundred units. We did a small production run, and now we're doing test marketing. So I'm working with like mindfulness groups, and I'm talking with like local pools and different kind of aquatic people to do testing, but also to get to some testimonials and some buyers.
All right. Okay. Has anybody expressed interest at the trade show you attended, the sports one?
A lot of it comes down to unit economics. So like let's say you make it for $10, or these are not the real numbers. Please don't try to buy my product for these numbers.
Of course.
But let's say you make it for $10, and like the factory it costs the factory maybe $5 to make, and then they charge you $10. And then let's say you sell it to a distributor, right? Maybe they want to buy it at $20. And then they're going to sell it for $30 or $40, potentially to a brick and mortar store or directly to a consumer. And then maybe that store will charge another $10 or $20. So by the end of it, the consumer will pay something like $60.
Are there any what do we mean by brick and mortar stores?
So the most common international one for fitness stuff is Decathlon.
Right, that would be a real store. A brick and mortar store.
A brick and mortar is considered like physical retail, like traditional retail,
not internet sales. Right?
Well, they might have an internet presence, but brick and mortar means literally that there's a building where you can walk in and buy the thing or try the thing.
Of course, yeah. You wanna at least try something like this on, and have a recommendation by a salesperson maybe there at the store.
We've been looking at distribution for swimming stuff. There's actually like an enormous amount of private pool owners, and there's pool associations, and there's commercial facilities. Our dream customer would be some of these giant cruise lines. If they get on board for this product and they have it at their pools and people use it, I think that will be really exciting, and it'll be a really big market. But selling business to business, finding that buyer in the organization and convincing them, hey, this will help their organization. It's not just like making a video. It's also understanding their business need and like helping them kind of like have success within their own business. And that's, I think it's very complicated doing physical product stuff, because you're really serving a lot of different customers and perspectives.
Yeah, okay. What about, what do you call it? The ISO, is it? International Standards Organization?
So there are some interesting certifications. ISO. Most people that I know don't. I don't know why they say ISO, but versus ISO.
I don't either. I don't understand how it works either. So I was asking you.
Okay, so there are different bodies. Sometimes they're industry groups. Sometimes they're out of government offices. Sometimes they're universities. They come up with various safety and other guidance documents. So like a classic example would be like helmets, like bicycle or motorcycle helmets.
Definitely motorcycle helmets.
Where there is testing done to make sure that they meet a certain level of safety. For pool floats, we're not a safety device, so we put on the product warning this is not a safety device, not intended to be used as a safety device. It's just water relaxation. But if you were to make a life jacket or some other product, there's actual standards for how it should fit. I think I don't deal with the safety side of it.
I don't. Yeah, that's why I was wondering about how, if it's like required for Amazon to have an ISO, or how about?
So they for the materials, there's certain certifications that exist for the materials themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why you might manufacture in Taiwan versus China is in China you have what's called, I think it's adulteration.
I don't know what that means.
So they'll mix in some extra stuff maybe to save money.
All right. Okay.
Oh, so adulteration sounds like I think you thought I was.
Yes, adulteration and
there's a different word that sounds
cheating on your husband or wife.
That's adultery. Adulteration.
Adultery. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Adulteration is kind of similar, where somebody is being dishonest and maybe mixing some chemicals that they shouldn't.
So I think it would be better to just say water down something with other chemicals. I don't think our listeners, if I don't know what that word means, I don't think my
I apologize. Maybe it's an industry term.
Yeah, of course. And you got to watch out. Our listeners don't really, maybe their English is not so good, and they're practicing and trying to learn English. And
I apologize.
No, you're using graduate school language. I encourage you to talk about this stuff. Yeah, but explain it, please.
I have a fairly technical. I have a fairly complicated job. So I work with engineers and factories to get the product made, and then I'll deal with people who are doing supply chain and distribution. And there's a lot of communication that happens where you have to talk about, the tolerances, basically like what level of mistake is okay for the product. So can it be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller? What material is it made out of? What size box is it going to be shipped in? When it arrives, is it going to have a certification of some kind? There's a lot of details to the work I do, and I think I tend to work with very technical people, so the language I use maybe is
no worries.
Overly technical.
There'll be plenty of people that understand this, and I want to warn you, my listeners, that Jay is quite intelligent.
No, I'm just a little bit nerdy. I wish I was
What's
smart.
the word nerdy mean? That's always the one that my children always ask me about. What's nerdy mean? I'm a nerd.
I think that there are definitions on the internet. There's like nerd, geek, dork, dweeb.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But it's so confusing.
Now you have to define each one for our listeners. What is a nerd?
A nerd is somebody that is very interested or knowledgeable maybe about specific topics.
Like a computer nerd.
Yeah, like a fanboy way, but then I'm using even more slang. Like in a way that like somebody
don't add more slang, please.
A geek is somebody maybe who's kind of technical. A dweeb is kind of maybe
What's a dweeb? That's a negative one.
Yeah, right? That's a negative one. That's someone maybe who's kind of awkward, in like an uncomfortable way. And a dork is somebody who's just like kind of a little bit uncool. These terms, honestly, are used kind of loosely, and
Yes.
they fall in and out of favor linguistically.
Now you had to explain what a fanboy is.
A fanboy or fangirl is somebody that has a great passion for a person or thing.
Right, and lots of those folks watch YouTube, and they're into all kinds of specific styles or things, and they'll say, "Oh, you'll hear this all the time on is it Twitter? Is it Twitter?" And they say, "I'm a fanboy of blah blah blah, an actor or something."
I think the language kind of evolves as communities kind of grow. They develop their own kind of language. I think language is kind of always a moving target where meanings kind of drift or change over time.
Definitely. I grew up during the hippie times in 1960s.
A little bit before me.
Yeah, and we used to call the police the fuzz.
Why were they called the fuzz? I don't know.
Because the sirens on the cars would go.
And that sounds fuzzy to you?
And we used to say, "Oh, the fuzz are coming, the fuzz are coming."
Well, but fuzz to me sounds like fabric that's soft. Like.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I haven't heard the word fuzz in such a long time.
No, the terms are now much more derogatory towards the police.
And, yes. Well, the word, unfortunately, pig in America was often used as a negative in the 1960s to describe the police. And it's still used today, I think.
They have a very difficult job. They deal with a lot of difficult people, but they also they don't act accountable to the public, and they don't act like they're servants of the public. And so it's really frustrating.
Well, everyone in America now seems to be entitled.
Yes, I think I think across the board, everybody thinks that they're owed something, and nobody believes that they sort of have
to earn respect or cooperate or anything.
I think there's benefits, but there's also responsibilities, and I think people forget that they have a responsibility to to the wider community and
that's
responsibility to try to get along.
Definitely.
That's really fallen out of fashion, and it's really unfortunate.
In America, people always say, "Oh, I have my rights, and you can't tell me I can't do this." Well, and Jay just mentioned people ignore the responsibilities that they have as a society. You have rights and you have responsibilities.
People forget that second one.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about it. Yeah,
that's everywhere though. I think that even in Taiwan, like the grandpa that caused the accident, where the police found him responsible, he doesn't want to take any responsibility, even though like there's video camera footage and everything. No one wants to deal with a difficult situation.
I don't want to take responsibility.
No, but it's not fun.
I mean, if I've caused an accident and someone's really hurt, I really feel bad, and also I have this strange feeling that I didn't really do that bad thing. How could I do something so stupid? But then something creeps over me that says that I didn't do it at all.
I think that there's a fancy word called disassociation.
Okay, disassociation means explain that to the listener.
It's like you can't. Association is like where where you have a relationship to a thing. So disassociation is where you separate, where in your mind, whether it's real or not, you create a separation between you and that thing.
Yeah, exactly. That means I had no connection to something that obviously I did. There's a lot in America now. People, it's a very strange world we have now in America. I blame the internet.
I think that we probably need to clarify the social contract again and really have an understanding of like what we're trying to build as a society together. And I think a lot of countries aren't willing to have that conversation, and our political leadership is not
in America and
not just in America. I think globally, it's just not really providing like a clear vision for like what we all have in common and what we all are working towards, hopefully together, and what we can kind of all positively benefit. It's very frustrating.
I think Taiwan has a pretty good social contract. What is a social contract, by the way?
Oh, yes. And I think Taiwan has maybe a better social contract than America in some ways.
Oh, definitely.
It's a little complicated.
Yeah. What is a social contract?
A social contract is the idea. It's kind of not like it's kind of like a little bit of like a fuzzy or like unclear idea where
we all agree to...
We have some sense together of, okay, we're going to allow the government to do these things. We're going to allow them to have like a military or a fire department or a mail service, and they're going to collect taxes, and hopefully by collecting taxes and running these government agencies,
they fix the roads, they educate our children.
Right? We're gonna participate in society. We're gonna give them money, and we're gonna elect them, and then they're gonna benefit us. And hopefully, we kind of have this idea that the way that they're gonna benefit us is this contract, the ways in which we're gonna benefit. We all kind of agree upon. And
and that seems to be gone. Or
we don't agree anymore
in America.
We don't have a sense of how can we, even if it's not benefit everybody, how do we do the least harm?
Yes, if anyone's going to watch the U.S. elections this year,
what a car crash! We have an American phrase, what a train wreck.
What a train wreck. Yeah, we usually call it a train wreck. Yeah. We have two candidates that clearly are...
They're too old.
Too old and too different from one another.
One is a little bit senile. He's just like, he's so old that
that's Biden. Yeah, he doesn't remember very much.
And the other is a little bit of a self-serving egomaniac.
That word, egomaniac. Ego means I'm important. I feel I'm an important person. I'm egotistical or whatever. He has a big ego.
And maniac is a little bit crazy.
Yeah, maniac means... A maniac is someone great. Egomaniac.
So self-important crazy person.
Somebody, that's a new word for you folks to learn.
The American political system has a little bit, it's struggling. I think America
really is struggling.
America is a really great place. I think it has so many beautiful cities and has so many wonderful people, and it's allowed so many people to have like prosperity, to start businesses, to have families. It provides good education, but I think the cost of living for Americans in major cities has been really unreasonable, and I think that some people have really taken advantage of the public, whether it's the government or some businesses. Although to be fair, like they're also like some of the people who are working class do a lot of criminal stuff as well. There's not a lot of sense of...
We've lost faith in the American political system, many people, because so many of... For example, I think it was the Los Angeles mayor got arrested or last week. Or
I'm from Chicago. The idea of a government official getting arrested. Chicago often has government officials that get arrested for some reason.
Chicago is we used to call it Sin City. You know, it was a sinful place back in the day.
There was an old famous Christian preacher who tried to get Chicago to not have so much partying.
Yeah. What was that? In the 30s, 40s?
It's Frank Sinatra, who's an old American musician who's very popular, wrote a song about Chicago, and he says...
I thought the one with New York was really good, too.
He did a New York one, too.
New York.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
Well, Frank Sinatra was a very iconic singer from many years ago.
We have to close now. I'm sorry.
It was fun. It was fun chitty-chatting.
Yeah, we'll chatting, talking. Let's take a break. Maybe we'll have you back on.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
All right. This is Fantastic Formosa.